I call the member for Fairfax.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, and delighted to stand and speak about this motion today, the threshold theme of which I don't disagree with, which is the importance of ensuring we have productive and livable cities in Australia. And I think both sides of the House certainly share that broader vision. It is extraordinary when you think how quickly Australia is growing in terms of its population and how quickly Australia is ageing. When I first read this motion, it made me think of that Peter Allen song, I think it was about 1980, Deputy Speaker, I still call Australia home. And those lines, and I'm sure I'll misquote them, but those lines of I've been to cities that never closed down, from New York to Rio and Old London town. To think that the likes of London at that stage when Peter Allen wrote that song, barely larger than the likes of Sydney is today, with over now 5 million people. Australia indeed is growing quickly with large cities. Where this motion falls down drastically, though, Deputy Speaker, is the typical politicisation and a baseless argument when it comes to fact, suggesting that the Labor Party actually has a good track record on infrastructure. If you look at the spend, Deputy Speaker, you see that through the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd era, there was an average of $6 billion a year spent on infrastructure. $6 billion spent on infrastructure. The coalition government, $7.6 billion on infrastructure. Now, I understand that those opposite aren't very good at economics. I get that, and I want to cut them some slack. But $7.6 billion is in fact more money than $6 billion, Deputy Speaker. It's $1.6 billion more, on average, spent on infrastructure. And what is extraordinary about this is I'm comparing a Labor era of an absolute spendathon. This is an era where they overreached with their stimulus post-GFC, and still they underspent on critical infrastructure for our cities. Now, if you look by contrast at what this government has done, but also what it forecasts to do, we have a $75 billion infrastructure plan for the years ahead, $75 billion. This motion was based on Victoria. $7.8 billion of major projects for Victoria were announced in this year's budget. If you go up towards Queensland, my home state, Deputy Speaker, and you look at the region of the Sunshine Coast, we scored big time in this budget with a trifecta of $800 million for Section D on the Bruce Highway, $880 million between Pine Rivers and the Sunshine Coast on the Bruce Highway, and of course that beautiful $390 million for the North Coastline for upgrades between Beerburrum and Nambour. That's $2 billion just for that broader region of the Sunshine Coast, because the coalition government understands the importance of investing. But there is another point here, Deputy Speaker, and you can see it through the motion. When it comes to ensuring that our cities have the vital infrastructure they need, it isn't just about show us the money. Even though, yes, we have spent more and invested more than Labor, again, this motion is just another example of a long wish list. Show us the money, the money, the money, the money. Such is the complexity around managing the growth of our population, amidst a time when we have a knowledge-based economy that is integrated with the global economy, that we can't just throw money alone. That is why we have crafted a Smart Cities Plan, Deputy Speaker, one that ensures that we have smart investment, smart policy and smart technology. Smart investment that prioritises projects, that takes long-term investments, investments that also take into account value capture, leveraging the strength of the federal balance sheet, policies that ensure we have not just 3 tiers of government working in concert in our major cities, whether they be metro or regional, but also 3 sectors of business, government and community. It is through this smart approach that we can continue to be ahead of the curve and invest in infrastructure to ensure population does not overtake it. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank the member for Fairfax. Question